A lot of people watched it, but nobody's watching day to day all day, unless you're me and just love this stuff. Procedures are okay, but we want to know, where do you stand? And so I think the more that politicians stop trying to be politicians and be people, then that will engage voters. We reject alternative facts, so come on in here and let me educate you on the facts. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Political Briefing. It's me, your host, QuentinRJiles. But if you're going to stay here and rock with me, then you know that you have to call me Q. Thank you all so very much for showing up. I'm super excited about tonight. Miss Shamika, I see you in the comments. My girl, Tammy Thurston, I see you in the comments. Yolanda Colbert, Ivory, April, I see you as well. Welcome. Come on in. Tonight we have a lot. We're going to be discussing it's not labeled a hate crime at this moment, but the but the crime that happened in Georgia. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking a little bit about immigration. I have an immigration expert that is going to come and talk to us about a few things, which I'm really excited about. That should be super informative. And you know, we always got to tell you about the Golden Gummies, so I do my whole little spiel and my whole little pitch on the Golden Gummies a little bit later, okay? But we also found, along with that story about the murderer down there in Atlanta, we found some, or I found out some additional information that's like, that I just posted a video about the intersectionality of that whole thing. And so it was just very interesting, the info that I found out. Also, the House passed the Violence Against Women's Act, which expired in 2018, and we can kind of discuss that a little bit more, seeing as how the Republicans had the House, the Senate, and the White House all at that time, and they let it lapse. And then even today, 172 House Republicans voted against the Violence Against Women bill. So lots to talk about, lots to discuss. So I'm super excited. Thank you all for being here. Before we get started, you know, you always have to get your Golden Gummies, your apple cider vinegar, and your your ashwagandha to relax, restore, and unwind. You have to do that. Now they are giving 10% off plus free shipping. So right now is the good time to get it because you don't have to pay shipping fees. I don't know if anybody else like me, but I'm like, if I go through, you know, I be, you know, racking stuff up in your little cart. Baby, if shipping too much, throw the whole cart away. I could rack up $120 worth of something. Shipping be $20, I'm not interested. Make sure you use this promo code as well. It's going to be promo code QueJiles. For those that are listening on the podcast, I'll make sure that I go ahead and drop the link in the show notes. But it'll be QueJiles. Make sure you get that there. And Yolanda Colbert said, I'm that way too. Right. Bags could be $245. Items all together, $245. Shipping be $15. Because I just feel like shipping shouldn't cost that much. Shipping need to be like $5. Shipping should just be $5. I mean, the way Louis DeJoy slowing down the mail anyway, shipping need to be $5, and that's it. And that's just it. But anyway, so that's that. Make sure you all, make sure you all go ahead and get that 10% off using the promo code plus free shipping on your Golden Gummies. Also, keep in mind, we are still giving behind the scenes access on this African ancestry journey that I am on. You can use that link as well to join the Patreon. We did have somebody join earlier today, so I will be sending you a message. Super excited about that. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, excuse me. Thank you all so much for joining. And I think what I want to do in the beginning of the show, let's just go ahead and watch that video really quickly. I want to share the video. Shout out to my intern, Amy, who did the edits. So I want to watch the video and then we'll get into the news on the other side because I think the video is funny. And so I want to share that with you all. So we're going to watch that really quick and then I'll be back on the other side. Uh-oh, hold on, hold up. Nope, stop sharing. Stop sharing. It's finna mess up. We don't have time for it to mess up now. Screen share. Audio. Make sure I get the audio. Got to get the audio. we'll find out where I come from. I'm super excited, family members, when you see the Cash App request. Send me my $20 because you about to find out where your African DNA from, okay? Okay, guys, today is the day I'm taking my African ancestry test. I got my test to test my mother's side and my test to test my father's side. I'm going to start with my mom's side. Woo, I'm excited! I am so excited to find out just like where my DNA comes from. It's obvious I'm Black. It's obvious I have African roots, you know. I don't want to mess nothing up in it. They must use Gorilla Glue instructions. Oh, goodness. Okay, let me put all that right there. Test kit instructions. Activate your test kit. Time to do the swab, baby. I didn't read the directions. I've read all of my directions. Now it's time to do my swabs. We got to get this DNA. Now the instructions say swab for about 20 seconds. African DNA. I'm trying to get the African DNA. Hold on, let me get my beauty blog on. You see that? The DNA is on there. Second swab, baby. We got to do another swab. Mama. You know why I'm sitting here doing all this swabbing? I feel like, hold on, let me be quiet. Let me get the swab.
Act like you're brushing or something like that. Get down up in the gum line. The DNA be all up in there.
Swab number 2. Swab number 3, mother's DNA. Come on. Baby, what if I'm from Uganda? Or what if I'm from Nigeria? You know, a lot of my close friends, well, let me say, out of my friends that happen to be African that are close, they Nigerian. So, you know, that might be something. I might have that Nigerian up in there. That paper say swab aggressively. Oh, firmly. Same difference. Boom! So we're going to put it in this little package, the DNA swabs. This, again, is for the maternal. So for my mom's side, so I'm going to put that in here, load these up, and we're going to do the father side. You see the blue? Yeah, we're going to do the father side and now see where that side from. Now, wouldn't that be crazy if both of my DNA lineages from the same place? Always be sure to read the directions. Read the directions. Firmly swab. Correct. Hey, directions the same. Let's get into it. Let's do father.
Let's work smarter, not harder. Get these swabs in there.
You know, I really feel like, as I'm doing this DNA test, I really feel like all my family on my mother and my father's side, they owe me $20 at a bare minimum. Because when I do this, I'm going to find out where everybody's from, right? So if you connected to me on my family lineage, especially direct, like my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, first cousin, y'all finna find out. I'm just going to send them a Cash App request so that way we don't even have to talk about it. Family members, when you see the Cash App request, send me my $20 because you about to find out where your African DNA from, okay? Now that I think about it, I'm sitting here. This family business. This is family business, okay? Sure.
I'm doing like this. I'm doing down for David. Okay. This the other set of swabs for the daddy. This the other set of swabs.
And that's it. And I guess in about like 6 to 8 weeks, we'll find out where I come from. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. It's gonna be amazing. And family, be ready to send me $20, okay? Hey, mama, so I just did my DNA. I just did the swabs or whatever. I just want to let you know I will be Cash Apping you as well. No, I'm a Cash App you too. You just can't get this information for free. Tell grandmother, go ahead and write a check. The last time she wrote me a check was 10 years ago for Christmas. I don't know what she thought when you get an adult, you don't supposed to get grandchildren no money no more. Tell her she's gonna find out her African DNA and she need to write me a check too. Tell her make it 50. Tell her make it 50. She got a little coin. Hello? This girl done hung up. Did you hang up on me? No, for real though. I'm gonna need that $20. Okay. So that's my little deal. So we are again come on the journey with me. I'm inviting you. That is just a promo. I'm going to drop the link one more time if you want to join the Patreon to follow this journey. As we see as well, the world is starting to open up. And so once I find out these results, the results will be detailed exclusively on Patreon. And, I'm already looking, well, even though I don't know where to go, but I'm kind of like already pre-planning to visit the country of origin or to visit the countries that my DNA is coming from. Now, it would be wild if both of my parents, that as they come together, if both were from like the same place. That would be dope. But I'm already kind of planning that and scouting that. And so if anybody has seen the Rome travel vlog, I've been doing something like that, but it will be exclusively on Patreon. So come and join us down there on the Patreon. I'm gonna drop the link one more time. And again, that is the same link you can use to get the Goalie Gummies. Oh, the book way over there. Or hop on the book club. So let's get into the news before I bring my guest up. So we saw yesterday the attack that happened in Atlanta with a white man that shot up these massage parlors. 8 people died. I believe 7 of them were female. 7 of the people that died were female or were murdered were female. 6 of them were of Asian descent. And so I posted a video like literally before I got on here, probably like 20, 30 minutes, and was like, we really need to have an intersectional conversation about what's happening. Because not only was it a white domestic terrorism, if you will, it was a mass shooting, if you really want to think about it, even though it was in different locations. It was also an attack on women. It was also, even though the man said it wasn't a racial thing, it was also, you can't deny that there had to be a racist undertone to it, especially with the fetishization and the sexualization of women in general, but Asian women in particular, since that's who we're talking about right now. And so the thing that I wanted to talk about here was really, we saw that the police chief came out and was just like, he was having a bad day. And then, that whole thing kind of came out and everybody's kind of like, well, what you mean he was having a bad day? I'm confused. What do you mean he was having a bad day? And that's what happened. No, he murdered people. Well, I was just in there watching the Rachel Maddow show down there on the MSNBC. And she said that somebody then dug up an old post from the police guy that said that was saying that at the press conference about him having a bad day. And apparently he himself at one time posted racial insensitive comments or posts about people of Asian descent in relation to the coronavirus, basically blaming Asian folks, Kung flu, China virus, all of that. He didn't say those specific words, but the post basically blamed Asian people for the coronavirus and all of that other stuff too. So now it kind of makes sense why he would even use that sympathetic language that this man was having a bad day, as opposed to this man went in there and murdered those people. Whether you were having a sexual identity crisis, if you will, that's what he was saying was, he went in there to do this to curtail his sexual temptations. He's had some type of sex addiction. You didn't go to a strip club. You didn't go to any of these, I'm going to say any of these terrible places that sell all the porn tapes and all the sex toys and all of that. You didn't go there. You didn't go to a brothel. You didn't go to the whorehouse. You know what I'm saying? You went to a massage parlor, which per the city right now, they're saying that, these parlors were operating above board. It wasn't any, type of shenanigans. I'm sure we've all heard the show, heard about this. This is a family show, and I know people cheering. I should have said a disclaimer before I talked about this. I am so sorry for the people who have kids in here. I should have definitely said a disclaimer. But us adults, we've heard about particular or massage parlors that go a step further, if you will, right? But the city is saying that this, as far as they know, these places of businesses, these places of businesses were operating above board as far as they know right now. So you didn't go to any of these other mediums that could feed a sexual appetite. You didn't go to Instagram. People be half naked on Instagram, baby. I got to follow and unblock to keep that off my timeline. You didn't go to Instagram headquarters. You didn't go to OnlyFans headquarters. Okay, but you went to these places. You went to these places, we traditionally, when you see these kind of like standalone massage parlors, I think one of them even had the name Asian in the title. We know who owns and operates those spaces. So I don't know how we don't classify it a hate crime. I know that they still want to do, more investigations, more looking into it. And I get that part, but I think the damaging part now is the fact that we see that this police chief has made some type of incendiary comments about the Asian community when it comes to the coronavirus. So I just think that we just really do need to look at this from an intersectional perspective and realize that even in his language of he was having a bad day, that kind of continues to cover up or make an excuse for white supremacy or white male grievance, that somehow when they have a bad day, they were just upset, so they committed acts of violence, kind of like the January 6th insurrection. Oh, those are patriots and they just committed acts of violence. So that's a no man Pam for me. Side note, you can go ahead and get your merch. I'm going to drop the link right now. We have lots and lots of merch, so go ahead and get that there. Get your no man Pam shirts and mugs and all those other things. But that's a hardcore no man Pam for me. And so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Of what comes about that, but it definitely is feeling more and more like a hate crime. I think there was one report that I saw, I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but somebody said that they heard him say kill Asians. Again, that is totally unconfirmed. So let's put things in their proper spaces and perspectives. Do not take that as fact. I'm telling you, that's one report I heard. I don't know if it's confirmed just yet, but we'll keep an eye out on that. In other news, one more quick story before we bring up our guest. Two of the jurors in the Derek Chauvin trial for the murder of George Floyd have been dismissed based on, and we talked about this yesterday, remember that $27 million settlement that got paid out to the family? They basically said that they can't be impartial. And so two of those seven that were already seated, when we left off last, there were 9 jurors. They recalled the 7 to talk to them. 2 of the original 7 said they can't be impartial, so they have been dismissed. So now we're back down to 7 jurors. So now we have that. So just put that there. I'll keep my eye out on it, and we'll go from there. So we're going to transition a little bit to our guest and talk about immigration, right? We've talked about this plenty of times on the show before. And so I thought it was very important to bring somebody who works in this space to kind of talk about immigration and kind of talk about it also in a way that we may not be talking about it, because typically, and we only talk about immigration when it comes to our brothers and sisters on the border, and it is so much more than that. So I am going to bring attorney Ify Ebede of the Ebede Law Firm up on the screen, and we're going to chat.
Hi.
Hello, Ify. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Political Briefing. We really, really appreciate you talking to us today.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, so you are many things, but one of the things is an immigration lawyer, correct?
Yes.
And you're based in Houston, Texas. Before we just kind of jump into that, could you just tell us why you chose immigration as your field of practice really quickly?
Well, I'm assuming, if no one could tell by my name, I am Nigerian. I'm from the Nigerian descent. And I have, although I was born in the United States, I had family members that had to go through the immigration process. And I've seen how stressful it could be. Interesting fact, though, is in law school, I did not want to do immigration. I actually stayed away from immigration. I was like, I'm not taking any immigration classes. Mm-hmm. No, everything. I would stay away. But my final year in law school, I volunteered at a naturalization clinic for a candidate. He was running for a political position. Mm-hmm. And I felt so fulfilled. Yeah, I felt so fulfilled. And I was like, okay, I was doing this just to get my pro bono credits up. Because
we need the degree. We see it on the wall there.
Oh, yeah. But I was doing it to get my pro bono credits, not knowing that that was actually going to be part of my calling. So it all worked out, and upon graduation, I interned for a year at an immigration firm, and I grew to love it, and that led me to where I'm at now.
So here we are. Okay, good. I just thought it'd be important, that we get a little background and foundation of who you are, where you come from, and why. And so let's get into some immigration topics, right? So from our understanding, and we're leaning on you to help us understand this, President Biden has reversed what they call the public charge that was enacted under the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that public charge, what is that, and what does that mean?
Okay, so the public charges, it's also called the wealth test. Essentially, let me just speak my truth. I feel that Trump put that out there to deter people from becoming permanent residents. What that application did was if you received any type of public benefit and you had no legal status, you wouldn't qualify to become a permanent resident in the United States. So that actually affected a lot of families that have children that were getting some sort of public assistance, whether it be for medical use or food stamps. It was hard to determine if those food stamps were actually going to all family members or if it was just going to the children that had legal status in the United States. So really the public charge or the wealth test that was administered by the Trump administration was really just to deter people. Yeah. And so during the coronavirus, well, we're still in the pandemic, but at the height of it earlier last year in the summer, there was a judicial decision that enjoined and invalidated the enforcement of the public charge or the wealth test, right?
Okay.
Well, the Department of Justice actually appealed that. And so we were waiting for a decision from the appeal. However, on March 9th, they ended up withdrawing, right? And I believe they withdrew because now we're in a different administration.
Right.
Biden. So they probably knew that they were going to lose. So they just withdrew it.
And so now there's been a repealing of a wealth test, means test, if you will, right?
Yeah.
For people to gain citizenship.
Yeah.
Okay, so we love to see it more. Would you say that's more humane?
Of course, definitely, because like I mentioned earlier, you have lots of families that are getting some sort of public assistance, right? And they need it to survive.
Right.
And if you're now telling them because you're using this to survive, you will not gain legal status, that's also preventing them from, getting work authorization so they could actually make a living for their family to, eventually get off public assistance.
Right.
So the whole test didn't make sense to me. The application didn't make sense to me. I'm just glad that we're over it, and everyone else is too. Yeah,
I am as well. That makes sense when you look at it from a position of trying to be intentionally cruel. So it makes sense there. That's where it makes sense. So we're glad that that's overturned. So can you tell us a little bit about what is TPS? What does that mean?
Okay, so TPS is also called temporary protected status. It's available. I'm sorry?
Who gets that?
So it would be non-immigrants that are coming from countries that have some sort of, how do I explain this? Like war or political issue. Right now, I believe it's available to El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, Nicaragua, Sudan. So it's kind of broad, but it really gives people that are in the United States from those particular countries an opportunity to work in the United States legally and not have the fear of getting deported. So it
Right.
doesn't give them like an opportunity to become a legal resident, but
Right.
it allowed them to be here legally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned Sudan, which is not below our southern border
No.
geography, over there on the other side of the pond.
Mhm.
So it's not just limited. So from my understanding, this is kind of like war-torn places, if you will, or fleeing from violence, if you will, disabled governments, but it is not solely for people below the border.
No, it's not.
Right.
And there's a selection process that that they have to go through before they pick which countries are eligible for
Okay.
TPS. Yeah.
Okay.
Recently, last week or so, Venezuela just got added to the list, and so anyone that is from Venezuela who was in the country, I believe, before March 9th could potentially be eligible to get it. But there is a catch to it. Now that it's been open for Venezuela, it's only open for 180 days. So if you're from that country, I advise that, you put your application in ASAP, because
Right.
by, I think, September 5th or around that time, it's going to be closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all of my Venezuelans, please make sure you get that in, because we want you to go through the legal process, right? Since there is a process, we want you to go through the legal process, and we love to see that the Biden administration is being a lot more humane than the previous administration. We mainly focus on the border, which I'm glad that you mentioned Sudan, because it kind of took us away from the border. But we mainly focus on the border when it comes to immigration. But there are so many other immigrants, right? You gave us a little bit of history about your own family situation. You talked about Sudan. We know for a fact that there are European immigrants that come over here and overstay their visas, but nobody ever seems to be upset about that. We only focus on the brown ones. But my question is, in your practice and scope of people, you do have clients outside of those that are coming from below the border, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just put those people in a pool, right? The people from below the border and then everybody else. Some of the challenges that we see from people below the border, are your other clients experiencing those as well? Like, let's say somebody is here from, I don't know, let's just take Nigeria, since that's where you said you were from. Someone is coming over here. Are they, them and their family trying to immigrate here, do they experience some of those same challenges and issues as people that are on the border?
Definitely. It's just presented differently. So I believe that people on the border, why they're highlighted so much, is because they could, prior to the wall and all that, they could essentially walk across and step into America.
Right.
Now, people from Nigeria or the UK, China, they have to fly over here.
Right.
Yeah. And so for them, most of them, when they come in with some type of entry, right? Whereas people that cross, they usually don't. But when they come in, they overstay, and now they're back in the pool with people that don't have any status. So I would say they definitely do eventually have the same struggles, because ultimately everybody is trying to get some type of legal status, right? Everybody wants to be here and not get deported, because there's something here in America that provides them a better opportunity from their home country,
right,
quote unquote. So I do believe that they end up having similar issues. But honestly, everyone's immigration case is different. Doesn't even matter if you're coming from the same country, because you could have two people that qualify for the same application, but then one person has a DWI that they got 5 to 10 years ago,
Mhm.
And, you know, for an American citizen, okay, you could get that expunged and you don't have to ever worry about it.
Right.
Well, that it's not that easy in the immigration system. Even
Got
though it's from 5, 10 years ago, they could try to use it to negatively impact your application.
Mm.
Yeah.
So in any type of infraction or law interaction that you have, you would say it weighs more for somebody who is trying to immigrate here than it potentially would for an American citizen who can go through a certain process to get things expunged.
Definitely, definitely. And it also depends on the state that you're in, because when it comes down to immigration law, you have to look at the state law and see what that charge is classified as, and then compare it to to the federal law, which is immigration law, to see if it's been heightened or if it's been reduced.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So it sounds like a lot of hoops. That's what I got from this so far.
Yes,
It
yes.
sounds like a whole lot of loops. Could you tell us what can we be doing in our advocacy? Like I would say this show does garner international support. We have some people from Australia that come on in the stream and we love them down under. Oh yes, down under. We're live down under. But the majority of the people are here in the States. So what can we do for those of us that see that there's an issue? We may not be all the way in the trenches, but we want to advocate. We believe at least that people should get a fair shot to immigrate here. We believe at least that they should be at least treated humanely and as humans, whether you decide to keep them here or send them back. So what is something we, the lay person, the general public, can do to help in advocacy?
I would say volunteer. So in every state, there are immigration help organizations. I know out here in Houston, we have the Catholic Charities. We also have the Baker Ripley. And those types of organizations, they actually have events where they help people fill out their applications. They gather a group of attorneys and a group of just regular citizens that want to help people with their application. And
I'm sorry, I just read a comment.
okay, so they help people, right? So I definitely will encourage everyone to get on Google, type in immigration pro bono organizations and see how you could be a part of it, because they definitely do need the help.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm over here looking at the stream. That was very good content or very good answer. Karen Lady Longlegs 85 Donaldson said, honestly, I'm trying to immigrate out of here. LOL. and
Look,
that completely took my Listen, sis, where are we going?
Right. You know, Puerto Vallarta is sounding real nice right about now.
Puerto Vallarta, look, and my STEMI just hit, so I'm rich, so I can go. You know? I can go. I can buy me a piece of land somewhere. No. Okay, one more question. You have given us such valuable information, but we really just want to know. This is the main reason why we booked you to come on the show. We really just want to know. Is what we see on 90 Day Fiancé
what?
Is that real? Is that whole process of them dating and trying to bring somebody over here on a 90-day fiancé, is that a thing?
Yes, it is.
That's a thing. Okay.
It is a thing, yes.
Okay.
It's a thing. All I can say is I would say 98% of what you see is accurate.
As far as the legal process on the show.
Yeah. Okay. So there are different visas, but that particular visa, yes, it gives them 90 days to get married. Yeah,
and then
in the United States.
And then when they get married, because I watched the show, and so then when they get married, they then become like, once they file adjustment of status, the American citizen then becomes like liable for them if they get a divorce or something like that? Like,
Well, so it depends.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And this is why, if you're listening and you need some assistance, hire an attorney, because you will have options available to you if you do get married to a U.S. citizen and the marriage turns out to be something that you don't feel like you bargained for. What I found with a lot of clients that I have is sometimes there's abuse in the relationship and they feel like they're trapped in the relationship because this person has essentially sponsored them to be in the United States.
Right.
So they feel like they can't go anywhere, and especially if they don't have their papers yet, right? But I just want everyone to know that you do have options. You should never feel like you should stay in a trap situation just because this person is helping you get your status in the United States. They're your spouse. That's what they're supposed to do because you guys plan to live together forever, right? But just know you have options, and if you need some assistance, reach out to your girl, schedule a consultation, and we will get you right.
Shameless plug. Tell us how we can reach out to you.
Oh, definitely. You could follow me on Instagram at IFEOMA_, or you could give my office a call at 713-993-6510, or visit my website at www.ebedelaw.com.
Can you give us the phone number one more time? We want to make sure that people got it.
Oh, okay. I will go slowly this time. 713-993-6510.
Perfect. Ify Ebede, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for educating us. I think so many gems were dropped. And again, everyone, if you need some type of immigration legal services or consultations, Ify Ebede here in Houston, Texas is the girl you want to call.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. I was nervous about this, but this is actually fun.
It's fun. I do this every day. It's very fun. And the people here are great. They love you in the comments. They're loving you.
Well, thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye.
Bye. So we just got a really, really good dose of information, right? We learned about immigration, baby. And I just needed to know about the 90-day fiance of it all. That's what I needed to know. I needed to know about the 90-day fiance of it all. Sis say what we see is real. She said what we see is real. So we love to see it. We love to see that the show is real, that's some real stuff that's going on. But even all those other things as far as like advocacy work, excuse me, as far as advocacy work and all of that as well. I think at the very last part, what she was talking about, people in abusive situations really does kind of segue me into the last topic of the night. The House has reauthorized the Violence Against Women Act, which again, I said earlier in the show, had lapsed in 2018. Now we know in 2018, the Republicans had the House, the Senate, and the White House and allowed that to lapse. And so now the House has taken that back up. But what I found interesting was 172. Let me make sure I'm correct. Yes, 172 House Republicans voted against it. It's still passed with the bipartisanship. I think about 20 something, almost 30 Republicans did vote in the affirmative. Voting in the affirmative meaning that they voted to say, yes, let's move forward. Let's pass this piece of legislation. But 172 House Republicans chose not to. It's upsetting me and my homegirls because we feel like if you're not going to even pass things that's going to protect women, protect people, why are you there? What is your job? What are you doing? Like, what is going on? So that's a little bit of piece of news. And I believe there were some new provisions added to the Violence Against Women Act that kind of closed some loopholes. They had a boyfriend loophole and basically, the bill didn't hold or try to hold boyfriend type abusers accountable. This kind of even pushes my mind out further because I had a conversation last night, which is a conversation that isn't really talked about, but also is kind of also ignored. And I'm not sure that this bill addresses it, but when we're talking about domestic violence, I'm pushing out a little bit more. Same-sex couples and domestic violence, that is a thing that happens as well, that I don't think is really discussed, nor taken as seriously as heterosexual couples getting into domestic violence situations, and particularly when it's a male abusing a female. Whether you disagree with anyone's lifestyle, I think that we can all agree abuse is wrong, and beating up on folks is wrong. And so I'm not sure that this bill actually addresses that particularly, or if any provision in there is just broad enough to kind of cover everybody. But the Violence Against Women Act did pass. It'll go over to the Senate, so we'll see what happens there. We have a segment coming up on the filibuster, which we know the filibuster is over there in the Senate. Some people are kind of confused about, like, well, what is the filibuster? Sabrina Nash, I see your comment that says, can you invite her back again to educate us? I definitely can. She is actually an immigration and a personal injury, like car accident attorney, but we only booked her for the immigration part. But I will ask her, if she wants to come back and talk about that side as well, or talk about both. She's actually texted me right now, and so she wants to watch it back. So I think she enjoyed herself as well. So we'll bring her back. But anyway, back to what I was saying to kind of close out the show. That piece of legislation will go over there. We're still waiting on to see like what's going to happen with the Voting Rights Act as well for John Lewis. And so there seems to be a lot of opposition that is hitting a brick wall in the Senate in regards to the filibuster. Now, a lot of people may not know what exactly the filibuster is. My intern, Katie, has already done the research for it. I have already filmed it. And so now it's sitting with Amy. Y'all know that Amy is my intern that does the editing. That does the editing. So Amy's going to edit it, chop it up, put some music on it, make it all nice and pretty. And then we will present that to you potentially within the next week. So that way you are also informed about like what the filibuster is and how it's being used, and how it is actually being used to stop progress that I would think, just based on the audience that I have, that a lot of us want to see. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be exclusively on the YouTube. You don't have to be a Patreon member for that one. It'll be exclusively on the YouTube under Civic Sessions. So we'll be talking about that. But guys, thank you all so very much for joining me. Oh, thank you. I see Cash Apps coming in. Okay, thank you so much very much. I was just going to say, come join the Patreon too. But if you want to send a Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, all of those things, you can definitely do that if you enjoyed it. That does help me keep the lights on and continue to do this thing full time. So we appreciate all of that. We appreciate the super comments and stuff. Thank you for the Cash App that just came in. Thank you for, I'm so sorry, I didn't catch the name that joined the Patreon earlier. I'm gonna send you a separate message. I meant to bring it back up. Guys, this has been the Daily Political Briefing. I'm glad that it seems like you all enjoyed that. So we'll be doing more guests like that. Until next time, guys, I will be back tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow if Jesus says the same. I love you all in Christ, and y'all have a great night, okay? Y'all have a great night. A lot of people watched it, but nobody's watching day to day, all day, unless you're me and just love this stuff. Procedures are okay, but we want to know, where do you stand? And so I think the more that politicians stop trying to be politicians and be people, then that will engage voters. We reject alternative facts, so come on in here and let me educate you on the facts.